What is up, everybody? This is Rob the Vapor here, and today we have a review of an RDA. It's been a while, and this is the Pollux RDA. Did I buy this RDA for jokes based on its name? Possibly, but the name grabbed my attention. Did a little bit of research, bought a clone because I don't have no monies. So we got the Pollux RDA from FastTech, and this is a clone of the Pollux RDA by Fog Monsters. Fog Monsters version is $70. It is down from $124 apparently, and the FastTech clone goes for $8.90. So it's sort of a no-brainer for me because I do not have $70 to spend on an atomizer, as I'm sure a lot of you guys don't. But as always, if you enjoy the atomizer, consider buying the authentic. I do support authentics. It's just that realistically, it's too high of a price for my pocket right now. So the Pollux is quite a strange little design. As you can see, it looks pretty cool on top of my HB Mini. I've got like a black skin on it, and it looks pretty nice for all intents and purposes. And we actually got a bit dark down here, but you guys can see it for the most part. You'll see it better when we bring it in close. And I would not say that this is a cloud chasing RDA. I would say it's sort of like a hybrid, kind of a bit like a Taube, something like that. You know, it's got a decent amount of flavor, decent amount of cloud, sort of a jack of all trades kind of thing. So let's just talk a little bit about the specs. The official one has 304 stainless steel. The FastTech clone probably has the same, to be honest. It seems like the standard of what they use. So there's a few differences, but the things like the juice well and all that seem to be about the right size. Possibly the clone's juice well is not as deep, but the drip tip is the one that really sort of gets me. It's a really long chimney drip tip, and it means that your vapor is going to stay pretty cool when you're actually vaping. And also because it has a Delrin adapter, which we will talk about in a while. So the official Delrin adapter is there so that you can use a 510 drip tip. The FastTech one doesn't work that way. You can't use a 510 drip tip, so you've got to use the proprietary drip tip. So it is what it is. So you're either going to love or hate this drip tip. If you don't like wide bore, you're probably not going to dig it. It is quite a big old drip tip. So, you know, that's up to you guys, really. Personally, I don't mind it on RDAs because when I use an RDA, I want more air, you know. When I'm using something like a Limo, I like more restricted. But if I'm going for an RDA, let's just go. And yeah, let's see, is there anything else? The heat fins work. I think, like, I found that it was very cool vapor throughout on the Pollux. Is it a Fog Monster? I don't really know because Fog Monster's naked, so I don't know. But it's got a peak post insulator on the deck, which we'll show you guys as well. Blah blah blah. And it's quite a neat little atomizer. I don't know. I just like it. I think it's going to be one of those love or hate designs. You're either going to really like it or you're just not going to like it at all. But for me, you know, it's good. Let's give it a try again. So we're at 0.4 ohms in this build, and we'll crank it up a bit. We'll go to like 24 watts, something like that. And as you can see, she's pretty good for vapor, but the flavor is definitely there. Like, I found vapor and flavor to be quite satisfactory, to be honest. It wasn't something that I was going, wow, this has absolutely no flavor, or, you know, wow, it's very restrictive. As far as an RDA goes, it's, like I said, pretty much Taube-like. The airflow, you know, is generous. I don't know if you guys can see that properly. It's only little slots there, which are obviously right where your coil goes. And yeah, for €8 or $8, much the same. It's a pretty good RDA. Worth a buy if you're sort of intrigued by the design. And for $8.90, it's sort of a no-brainer, right? I mean, cinema tickets are about that price, if not more, depending on where you live. So, you know, it's I buy these little things off FastTech every now and then, and I just sort of wait for them to come in the post. They're not something I put too much thought into, you know, I'm not super stoked, I don't have super high expectations. For me, it's a decent RDA, you know, another decent FastTech RDA. Took about 2.5 weeks to get here, but what do I expect? You know, I love when guys bitch on FastTech about the delivery times. You're spending $8.90 for an RDA that's made in China. What do you expect? You know, if you want quick service, buy the authentic. That's how it works. You know, those guys will take care of you. You're a customer for life, etc., etc., etc. So let's give it another whirl. But I do find it an enjoyable vape. It's definitely an atomizer I would use more. I'm sorry I'm making this face, guys. I had this juice in there, and I actually reviewed it. It was Shark's Blood by Bordeaux 2, and I found it very, very strong, and it doesn't leave your wick, and that's not what I'm vaping even now. It's left on the coils, and that stuff is absolutely banging. Not in a good way. It isn't very good. But yeah, so that's about it, guys. We're not going to do a build. I'm going to bring you down, show you the deck, just show you how it works. It's a pretty basic RDA. I should also state that you can do this in either dual coil or single coil, so the options are there if you want to do it either way. And it works very well in both setups. So that's something that you guys can try out. But yeah, we'll take a look at the deck, we'll take a look at the peak insulator, and yeah, we'll find out whether this is a load of Pollux or if it's actually a good RDA. But all jokes aside, I think that this is a solid RDA, solid clone, 7 out of 10. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, there's nothing fantastic about it. It just does its job. It didn't blow my socks off, and I think a lot of RDA reviews are going to pan out like that in the future, because you know, I'm not an RDA guy. I think engineering, I'm going to go off topic a little bit, but I think engineering impresses me more when it's an RTA, just because there's more things that can go wrong, if you know what I mean. So once someone nails RTAs, I'm really impressed. A dripper's a dripper to me. You know, there's various airflow setups and stuff, but ultimately, you know, the gimmicks like the fans and all that stuff don't really pander towards me. It doesn't work. But yeah, let's take this biatch down low, find out if it's a load of Pollux. Check it out, guys. Pollux. Okay, so we're down close, and as you can see, it's got the little engraving of Pollux on the atomizer. Poor choice of name, perhaps. I would suggest Fog Monsters look into alternate names than Pollux. So yeah, guys, the 510 is quite deep, so keep that in mind if you're using a fixed pin on your mod, because the thing probably will sit up a little bit off the top. So something like the sub box, you're probably going to have a few issues with. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Copper center pin, Fog Monsters engraving, 2266 is the serial, I think. No, 2366 is the serial. And yeah, so that's how it looks up close and personal. Here is the drip tip. Let's take this guy off. Oh, actually, hang on. Now we want to take the whole thing off if we can. Yeah, there we go. So this is the drip tip, guys, and this, as you can see, it's quite wide bore, which I don't mind really. It's actually quite a nice vape, even though the drip tip is quite wide bore. Usually I have problems with this, and this is the quote-unquote 510 adapter. And it is not a 510 adapter at all. It's the same bore as the drip tip, pretty much. So yeah, the 510 adapter does not work, so you won't be able to put your little thingies on. So that can go over there, because I'm too lazy to screw it back on. And yeah, here's the heatsink. It works well. As you can see, it's quite a meaty heatsink, and it's actually the part that controls whether you're in single or dual coil mode. So it's quite decent. It does its job. One thing that is a bit of an issue is sometimes condensation will get caught in there. Remember, guys, that because this is a clone review, it's not representative of the authentic, you know, but it's just nice to stack them up and see all that stuff. So if we pop this guy off, there we go, you will see that it has got your dual coil and your single coil configuration. And it's all machined really nicely, actually, for a FastTech clone, I will say that. And now, wapap, here is the build. Not a very good build, I'll admit. I threw it together. But it worked, it vaped. And yeah, because like I'm not one of those guys who's going to spend hours trying to like perfect the build. Let's just get this off. There we go. I'm not one of those guys who's going to like try and perfect the build. You know, I've got better things to be doing than worrying about how my build or how my coils look. But the coils are decent. And yeah, as you can see, the juice well is quite deep, and it probably is as deep as the Authentic, actually, having a second look at it. And it's quite roomy. As you can see, there's a lot of space in there. So this thing will hold a lot of drips, and it does not leak very much also. Due to the design, it's pretty good. As you can see, the coils are quite high up, so it's not really an issue of any description. Excuse me. And yeah, the screws are really easy to work with. They're quite beefy, quite nice. And yeah, all in all, solid RDA, guys. Decent, enjoyable. Can't say much more about it. I will post a link in the description to where you can get your Pollux if you fancy it. Oh yeah, it's also got a peak insulator. We can't actually see it right now, and let's see if we can move the wick. I was going to say I'm too lazy, but I kind of feel like that would be a disservice to you guys. Let's see if we can get that on camera. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. Let's see. Okay, so there it is. It's in the center post there at the bottom. Is that peak insulation, or is it a melted down purple Darth Vader figure with a Chewbacca head that was discarded from a factory in China? Well, we just never know these things because that's China for you. And we have no information on where it was made, as usual. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've been Rob the Vapor. Haters catch the vapors. I'll see you all later. That is the Pollux RDA. 7 out of 10. Decent clone. I presume the Authentic is very good. And yeah, happy days.